This is Matt for Boxing Social in association with William Hill and Empire Fight Store. Delighted as always to be joined by British Champion Fabio Wardley. Fabio, it's been a while. How's things?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. How's things with you? All right?
Yeah, no complaints. No complaints.
Done any press conferences lately? Hosting anything? I know you're a big deal now, so it's nice to have your time actually for you to make time for me. I appreciate it. Thank you, bud.
Wow, just for a bit of context, this interview was yesterday and somebody forgot and it weren't me. No,
Uh,
I'm all good. No press conferences, hopefully not. Anyway, to be
mm.
hosted in the near future. Your fight's finally been announced. Anyway, Michael Coffey, a bit of a surprise name. I think many of us expected a defence of the Lonsdale belt. How did this fight come about?
Well, that was the initial plan. Was to defend the belt. That's what we wanted to do. The kind of overall plan for this year was to defend it outright, have three fights, nice defenses, and kind of tick it off. But hasn't come to fruition. Hasn't come to plan. We offered it to anyone and everyone available, really, and we got a number of different responses. So none that we was able to put together. So kind of it left us a little bit short, but we managed to put together something decent to finish it off.
Are you finding it hard to get opponents with obviously how you've sort of built your record? You've had the, former world title challengers. You've had that acid test sort of against Gorman where before the fight, which I think you went into it favourably. A lot of people saying this would be your toughest test. You came through it with flying colours. Are you finding it difficult for people to accept?
Yeah, yeah, which is surprising as well because I thought at least once I had the British title, I've got something that someone will want to have a go at, something that
Yeah.
people want to get hold of. But there's been a lot of yes, no's, maybe, not yet, later, just just faff in general. So it's not really like how I like to operate. I like to just get things done and keep moving forward and just yes, no, get it done. We're off kind of thing. But so it's been a bit frustrating, but it is what it is. Unfortunately, this is sometimes how the game goes.
Who are the names that you were looking at? Obviously, we'll come on to Michael Coffey in a minute, but obviously Dave Allen's made his comeback fight, and everyone was sort of starting to say, "Oh, that'd be a good fight." I think I spoke to obviously Frazer Clarke's on a different platform, but I think I spoke to Frazer after your last fight. I think he'd like the fight. I'm surprised. I'm surprised that there's been no sort of clamour for you to fight. Somebody, especially now that
Mm.
you're holding the cards domestically.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. That's the same thought I had, to be honest. Is that once I have the belt, everyone's going to be lining up for me. Is going to want to kind of take it from me, and they say I'm flawed or that they see holes in me and whatever else. It's easy enough to say when the camera's in front of you, but all of a sudden when the cameras go away and it's time to get down to the nitty gritty of getting it organised, somehow it doesn't come to fruition, or their opinion, their stance, and it is changed. So like I say, it's a frustrating one to kind of navigate this boxing world.
Well, at least it's going to be on a big card. An undercard advantage, Joshua. It's always a good thing. Michael Coffey, talk to me. What do you know about him?
Not a lot. Not a lot. No, it's not. Again, it's not really something I delve into when when I have an opponent announced, or really when we're putting them forward. Is that I don't really delve into kind of them or their background so much. So I leave that more to my team, my trainers, and things, the people around me to kind of navigate it for me, and also obviously put a plan together for me as well in terms of how to approach them. But I've seen little snippets and bits and bobs, and he was on obviously a good track, and he was on course to kind of really make an impression on the scene. And I think he ran into his boogeyman of Johnny Rice, and that kind of put a bit of a stop to him in that sense. But he's still a very good fighter, still a very awkward fighter, and still got a lot about him. So it should be interesting.
Yeah, and it's always good, no matter what, if you don't get the fight that you want, that you keep busy. I remember you had the injury before going into that Nathan Gorman fight, and it was one of them where you had to let it heal. But now you've got the Gorman win momentum. Important to keep your momentum in it after a big win like that.
Yeah, massively. I think that's always kind of above anything, is that to just fight and stay busy, stay active, stay in the forefront of people's minds is the thing. If we can't have the ideal fight that we want, the perfect one, then we get the next best thing that we can get a hold of. And that's more so what this is. But like I say, it's still a decent fight with a decent opponent, and boost my ranking and obviously boost my record. So that's the plan, is to get the job done and move forward and try and crack on to more kind of bigger and better things.
There's plenty of fights for you to be had, but how many times have you watched the Nathan Gorman fight back? I can imagine you waking up on a morning, iPad out, play, are you getting changed?
No, barely watched it. I think maybe once, twice, or I don't know, once, 300 times, maybe. I don't know. No, to be honest, it's something I've watched back quite a few times, more than most. Because whenever I have fights before, I probably watch them maybe once or twice, and I don't bother with them again. But with that one, I have watched it back quite a bit, to be fair.
I don't know what your sort of big takeaway from the fight. Obviously, you got the belt, and it was done in impressive fashion. But you've not really had that fight or flight moment where you got ever been buzzed. And I won't say it buzzed you, but obviously it caught you on the nose with a terrific shot, and it was a case of, right, we're now going to see Fabio Wardley, we're going to see what he's all about. Do you look back at that now and you sort of like, I told you so, like, I told you I'd do it. You never had a chance to show that in your other fights, really, and that was really a moment of, look, you've seen it now. I've got caught, but look how I responded, because that could have been a moment where you either go in your shell or you show what you're about.
Yeah, I think that's something I always knew I had in myself. I knew it was there. I proved it time and time again to myself, to my team, in sparring sessions and things. I know that if things start to go a little bit left, I can grab the fight by the scruff of the neck and go, right, okay, cool. If this is how we're going to do things, this is how we're going to do things. I've got no problem with getting stuck into situations like that. It's somewhere I feel completely comfortable and something I like doing, against kind of the advice of my corner and my team and everything else. They obviously don't like me to get involved in them things too often. But me as a fighter, I love being involved in those. And especially for that fight and that occasion, it made me feel like I really earned the belt.
What about the inclusion of Ben Davison to your team? That extra bit of knowledge. I've been to Ben's gym, how he works with all his fighters. How sort of important has he been to the addition of your team, your trainer, and everybody around?
Yeah, he's been crucial. He's been crucial to this next phase of me as a fighter, this next stage of my career, for me to kind of realize that, yeah, okay, for the maybe first 13, 14 fights, I got away with just pure kind of power, athleticism, kind of stamina and speed, whatever else. I used kind of the raw materials to get myself there. Where now, working with Ben, we're really kind of honing that into a pure style, a skill, and putting foundations in place of, I know what I need to do in X in situation or Y situation, or if this pops up, or what I do here and there. We have set plans, set guidelines that I can work towards, and it's something I'm really enjoying. Like I say, I've been working with Ben again through this camp, and it's all gone really well.
What do you make of the main event? Obviously, Jermaine Franklin comes into that fight off the back of a great performance against your manager in Dillian Whyte. A lot of people, I think, again, writing Jermaine Franklin off, but he's one of these fighters, if you have a bad night against, can cause an upset. How do you see that main event?
Yeah, I think that's with him, isn't it? That when he first came to the UK to fight Deal, he was an unknown. So people didn't know what to expect. And to be honest, they probably didn't expect a lot. So when he put on a half decent performance, I think people gave him maybe a bit more credit than maybe was deserving in that fight for itself. But he's proven that the occasion doesn't really matter to him. He can get in with them top guys and still perform to a level that he can get to. So with the AJ fight, I think it's going to be a similar line to the Deal fight. I think he'll probably get him out of there now. It's kind of, you've seen someone else do it, and you can pick from that a bit more now and go, okay, cool. So I can get at you here, there, and whatever else. But it's good for Franklin anyway. He's had 2 big fights back to back, even coming off a loss. So he's not done too bad out of it at all.
No, absolutely not. Listen, what do you sort of want now for the rest of the year? Do you think you'll be able to get these defences in, or will it be starting next year where you think they'll be finished? And who are the names you want? You're now in a position where you can actually tell me who you want to fight. So who do you want to fight?
Yeah, defenses would be ideal. I think they're the plan we initially set out on what we want to do. But whether they're available to put up or whatever is a different question. Obviously, the usual names they're probably the I think the best two that for me to go for would be Frazer Clarke and David Adeleye. I think they've got the most
Yeah,
kind of they're the fights that have the most intrigue. They're both in kind of earlier stages of their careers than me. But they both said they want to have a go at the British title. Fine, no problem. But they're the ones I think of what I'm looking for more so is that fights that I can go walk away from and go, yeah, okay, cool. Like I prove something here, or I get kind of the respect you deserve from a fight of fighting someone of a comparable level, and then going, look, see, I did it, ticked it off, kind of thing. Just
yeah.
feel like I'm proving myself over again. Like I don't know. However, I go through this kind of this career and whatever else, I always feel like there's something I need to prove to something. Whenever I do something, like the Nathan Gorman fight in the build up, he was this, that, the other. He was a boxer. He was going to do this, and then I beat him in 3 rounds, and then people go, "Oh well, you only did that and this and whatever." It's fine. I'll move on. Just keep doing that throughout my whole career. I'll just keep beating the guy I'm not supposed to beat, and then not getting the credit on the back end. But it is what it is.
But if you continuously don't get the credit, which a lot of boxers don't, because you can almost never win. You beat someone, they weren't good enough, or you go to war with them and you're not good enough, and you blast them out of there, and they weren't that good. You're never in that position. But does that help sort of give you that? Not that you need any self motivation, but does it help when you've got a bit of a chip on your shoulder going into it to say, you know what, it's going to be sweeter once I get out of this and put on a good performance? It must be.
Yeah, of course. My my ego always gets to me and then things. I'm like, okay, cool. If you don't think I do it, I'll fucking show you. Watch, see what I do, and then I'll do whatever, and I'll come out on the back end and I'll just be like, see, look, I told you. But it's all part of it, isn't it? Like you say, you don't. A lot of boxers don't get the credit for the things they do. Someone will come up with an excuse somewhere or a reason why you won or whatever else. So it is what it is. All I need to do is make sure I'm pleased with myself and my performances. My team and that around me are happy with the way I'm progressing and the way my career is progressing, and I'll sleep well at night. The rest doesn't really matter.
100%. Right now, look, obviously the world titles, they're gonna, we think, touch wood, hopefully. I mean, hopefully nothing bad happens, but Usyk and Fury should fight. But after that, you'd think maybe the belts start, fragmenting out. Joe Joyce is waiting for his shot. There's Daniel Dubois, who's WBA regular. I suppose the ultimate goal for you is to become world champion and get to that point. How many fights do you think you are off sort of that level and challenging?
Obviously that's the top of the tree. That's the goal. I think maybe 6 or so fights away from something like that.
Yeah.
I think if I take into account having this year and then over time letting the belts fragment to a point where I'm now in line for something, as long as I keep pushing, keep winning, I think it's about 6 or so fights away. I think I'll be there once I'm about 20 and 0, something like that. I think I'll be in the mix round about then. Once I hit the 20s of that'll be my place to be next in line, kind of thing. I'll be the mandatory or whatever else.
That's got it's like a move in it from white collar to world champion.
Yeah. Yeah, literally. That's the thing. That's the way it can go. So hopefully I get I don't know, maybe not Michael B. Jordan. I don't know who I'll need to play me in the movie, but I'm a bit taller than him. I think I need someone else. Will Smith's a bit past it. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out later. Don't worry.
Will Smith's a bit past it. Oh, you turn that down. Yeah. Oh,
yeah, I
know. Well, look, thanks for giving us some of your precious time. I know that you're a busy man. So
yeah, always, mate. Always.
I'll be down for your fight in a couple of weeks, so we'll have another catch up then. But yeah, we wish you all the best as usual, and appreciate you giving us a little bit of your time, bud.
Always, mate. Thank you.
Appreciate it, pal.